Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Welcome back. Time again for another Oh Yeah Trek Watch. John Suntress here. Franco is here. Michalik is here. Here, I'm doing my Christopher Pike cosplay from the beginning of Strange New Worlds. Oh, there goes the camera. Oh, they're trying to get me. No, let's interrupt. This transmission must continue. Starfleet, can you hear me?
Did you?
I got a brand new camera, man.
How did you have the budget to do that? Did you
I
just
know.
blow
It's like
blew the
ILM.
budget for that's
I'm
all of
pulling out
Picard
all-
season 3 budget right there.
I'm pulling out all the
Lucasfilm.
special effects. Absolutely, man. That was awesome. Can you hear me, Enterprise? That's the beginning of Balance of Terror, the first Romulan episode. We'll get to Chris Pike and company with Strange New Worlds. We got to start with Picard because let's fucking wipe the stench off of us and move on to positive things. And that's what's great, truly, as I'm sure you guys felt the same way. We're honest. I mean, and it seems like, especially when we were all talking, texting over the weekend and stuff, we liked Strange New Worlds. But first, let's talk about the wrap-up of Picard. Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
It was oof.
So many butterflies still flying around despite Rios. Yeah, I picked up all the weapons. That's it for the butterflies. And it's like, no. Like, how does Agnes Borgatti, like, doesn't her existence, shouldn't that have impacted the Borg in First Contact and subsequently in Next
Well,
Gen?
that's not their timeline. Remember?
No, that was a fan theory that I thought was a great idea, but they never said that. I mean, and also when they fix everything and they come back to that point with the Stargazer, Rios isn't there, and like, how come none of the
That's
crew
right.
Like, where's Captain Rios? What happened to Captain Rios?
Don't ask that question now. Do this. 7, get in the chair.
He
That's
was
a stupid question.
diddling someone in the past. He was getting ready to diddle someone in the past. There.
Yeah, you're right. They just kind of relegated to like, don't ask.
Here's a field commission. Not
Don't
only am I
worry.
making you captain, but it's like, give me a break. Good
You're
Lord.
the Borg representative now.
Uh,
Oh,
I
so
like
that
that
was
Picard has been relegated to being like, chauffeured around in all these starships now. Yes, please. Yeah.
driving Miss Picard.
Yeah.
So that was their timeline then. Okay, I was under the impression this whole season that we were watching.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
according to time
world.
travel rules, I mean the change happened because they went in the past at this point.
Right.
So yeah, there's no overlap. So she becomes Borgatti now, not
Now.
before.
Right.
She became Borgatti in the past, but all that time she wasn't Borgatti until this point now, because now they're going forward from here. So she's Borgatti now, but not in the time between, just
That
Borgatti
makes-
before.
if that
That
makes
makes
sense to you,
no
God
sense.
bless you. They
Yeah,
explained
yeah.
nothing.
Yes.
And I mean, that's like, again, it's like, well, you kind of set up these rules. I said this over the weekend. I forget who I was talking to. Probably no, it wasn't Johnson. I didn't bore poor Jeff Johnson with my Star Trek BS. But I'm like, I think it might have been Jay Ferber. But it's like, they just decided to just change certain stuff, and it's like, we've been watching these reruns. If it's Next Generation for 35 years, if it's the original series for 55 years, and the other thing is, you would all these complaints would be wiped away if they finally just said, something. Just like we have the Kelvin universe,
Yeah.
this is the Discovery universe. It's a soft reboot like Galactica was, and then none of us would say anything. It's like, fine, we'll get to that with Strange New Worlds as well. I mean, as much as I liked it, there were still little things like, I'm like, but didn't this happen? And didn't it happen this way?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it really is.
Well,
Like,
if
they
he
put it in their
when,
own
when they
canon.
yeah when they made Borgatti here in the future,
Right.
and then
What
she went
happened?
back in the past, and Borgatti erased all of Picard's family. Robert, he's no
Yeah.
longer there, so he erased them. So, it's Borgatti. That's my answer.
Yeah.
So the
Dot wants to know, but what are the changes due to Crystal Ball saying in the Crystal
Yeah.
Balls staying in the past? Well,
None.
Whoopi's got a new picture on her bar.
Mhm.
Here's a
Yep.
picture of them. It's a nice Polaroid.
It's been there for eons, and
and you
Picard never noticed it.
He didn't look at it. No. So
Well, he
we're
didn't
not going to do a time travel thing because
Well, he
what
didn't notice
happened?
it because Borgatti was here at this point, and then
Right.
Stop it.
so
Yeah. Why would he never
You're
notice it?
you're
Because
making my
he
head
didn't
hurt.
know who he is. Yeah. And does Agnes not exist anymore because she was lost back then as a Borg 400 years ago? So then who was the one that they dealt with? Or that never happened? It's like Captain America going back to the past. So you're like, well, what happened to the other Captain
do
America?
you need me to explain the whole Borgatti thing again? Or
No. Endgame showed you could be in the past as well as you can exist as you were in the past, but also time travel, and two versions of you can exist because we saw it. I mean, he fought himself, nice ass, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In Endgame.
Yeah.
So those are the Avenger and Marvel movie rules. I haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. I don't even want to know about what alternate universe. So please, in the chat, do not refer to Doctor Strange. Franco and Mitch saw it. Feel free to talk to them online. Please don't bother me with Doctor Strange shit. The boys know. You guys know. But anyway,
talk to me.
I mean, it's like you've set up certain rules, stick to them, and again, whatever. So Patrick Stewart. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? There's a couple articles about Picard. His one. This is from Comic Book Resources, CBR. Patrick Stewart shares his one regret about Picard's second season. One regret. This is an interview in the Hollywood Reporter. My only regret is once Jean-Luc revealed those hidden facts about his childhood to us, I almost wish we could immediately put him back on the bridge on the Enterprise to hear and see what the impact this revelation had on him. But we couldn't do that. There are so many emotional complexities in this whole series that we didn't get to investigate much in Next Generation. I grew up in a violent home, and over the years, thanks to lots of very expensive American therapy, it's something that I've come to terms with, I think. But the harm that it could do while being compressed and kept out and kept back and not acknowledged, it was very dark. I realized this was the same Jean-Luc Picard.
Cool.
Okay.
So basically, all that trauma manifested itself in creating his brother and his nephew and all of that.
Yeah, where were as we said last time? Yeah, where are Robert? Where's Renee? Renee.
Why couldn't he leave them a note like, "Hey, watch out for the fire in a couple hundred years"? What?
Because that would change things
and save his family.
Again, the whole point of once he put the key back in, Q going, you see, that's what this was all about. It's like, well, then let's add a watered down version of Tapestry to the list of grocery list of other Star Treks that this series was trying to emulate. So Star Trek 4, First Contact, Tapestry.
Yeah.
What was, again, so much wasted things. What was the significance? And I don't believe it will be addressed, given that there were unanswered questions from season 1 with the tentacle alien and stuff. What was the significance of having the FBI guy, not Fox Mulder, and the Vulcan encounter? Did that have anything to do with the story? No, nothing.
Just padding,
right?
Filler.
As I said, obstacles rather than plot points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these 10 episodes were filled with obstacles that had nothing to do with the major story. The major story should have been told in probably 2 hours, maybe
2 hours.
Ridiculous.
Rios getting taken by the INS bus had no impact on the show.
And again, what happened with that butterfly? Because all those ice people were.
Well, I'm going to disagree because he learned what life was going to be like by staying after, by staying behind.
And that's why you
but again, that should.
I have no real answer for that.
No, I was going to say, if you could go back 200 years from now and it's a shithole, why would you want to stay in a shithole?
They have really good cigars.
Yeah,
that's why That's why things passed. Yeah, and good food. That's why things passed the Deep Space Nine two-parter with Gabriel Bell and the Homeless had more impact than this crap-tacular fest that took 10 episodes.
And plus, he has knowledge of the war that's about to start that we're going to see on the other show. Wouldn't you think he would try to do something, being a Starfleet guy, to save millions of people?
No, he died in a bar fight.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
But I thought he died as an old guy in a bar fight, not like 2 weeks after they left. I thought they said he
or at
grew
some
old.
point. It sounds like it was years later, but who knows?
And then when they left the show with "To save the future, one Renee must live, one Renee must die," I thought they were going to do something about his brother, or the little the nephew Renee, who died in the fire. I thought that was going to be like somehow they were going to retcon that, and he saves the little kid, but no, they fucked that up.
Daniel Legat has a few comments here. I heard you last week wondering how newcomers to Trek feel. I'm 42. I was always a Star Wars fan, not a Star Trek fan. Started watching New Trek around Disco Season 2. Always agreed with your assessment of New Trek, but never had the anger about it since it was never a franchise close to my heart. During the pandemic, though, I began a watch through of all the seasons, and then he says, was surprised at how quickly the original series connected with me. Outside of not having enough episodes about the Klingons, Romulans, and too many about Earth's historic time periods, I loved it. It's a great show. It's, and in fact, when we get to Strange New Worlds, I rewatched the Gorn episode from the original series, Arena, for everybody, first season, great episode, and we'll get to Strange New Worlds. But also, you can even point back to Discovery and Captain Lorca having a Gorn skeleton in his office. And Arena, both Kirk and Spock and there's no records of the Gorn. The Gorn are they keep referring to him as this alien race. And finally it's finally when the Metrons show up and put the Gorn captain and Kirk on the planet that he's like, this race known as the Gorn, blah blah blah. And then you get a personal log from Kirk saying apparently the Gorn, whatever.
Yeah,
so it's ridiculous. And also, by the way, regarding the two Renees, I love how Talon, not Laris, basically does a get smart kind of move of, and it wasn't shown on stage, but her just suiting up in the astronaut outfit.
And it fits her perfectly. And,
I'm assuming, or like an Austin Powers moment, judo chop. And knock down whoever's a uniform she took. And also, hey, NASA, fantastic lack of security.
Oh no, and I like how Sung gets in there and gives her the Mickey. Oh, how did he knock her out with a knockout drops or
he's got magic potions all over the place, and he's a geneticist.
And then
I don't mind. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, please explain to me the whole Khan thing at the end. So that already happened.
Oh, Project Khan. It did, and honestly, at first I'm like, what the hell? But I've seen screen caps of the file, and the date on Project Khan is in the 90s. Okay. So it almost, to me, is my assumption was, okay, the government at some point assessed the eugenics war and had a report on Khan and what they knew about eugenics and the development of Khan and his superhumans. And the fact that Soon is cloning, okay, now I'm going to kind of delve into this. And of course, we've got the Enterprise history of the Augments and the Soon family being involved in genetics. I also heard a great Mike Sussman, former Voyager and Enterprise writer, say that in Enterprise, he wanted it to be stated clear that that version of Sun was or Soon, whatever, was a clone as well, and that all the Soons have been clones. And if they would have just, kind of declared that, it would justify Brent Spiner looking like every Soon.
That's clever, actually.
And again, as always, much better story than what we actually get on screen. So it's like, okay, whatever. But and also, God damn it, I forget what Not Soji's name was as Soon's daughter. But listen, I love Will Wheaton, or I should say, I love Wesley Crusher. Will Wheaton kind of grates on me on the Ready Room. I won't deny it. But good Lord, Hi, how are you? I used to be Wesley Crusher. It's like, dude, you're not hosting the Ready Room. You're supposed to be acting right now.
Okay, one, she doesn't know who or what Wesley Crusher is. Two, he just walks out of the bushes in the middle of a park. Hi, you want to see my pee-pee?
Well,
I mean,
look,
like,
in all defense, like in her defense, she was kept in the Soong compound. She never left. She was raised there. She doesn't know what the real world is like, so she can be easily swayed like that. So I'm going to let that one go.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And also,
you know what? Okay.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, and I think just hi, I used to be known as Wesley Crusher. It's like, listen, I know this seems weird. I used to be a human, whatever, and now I'm this. So, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but also, having said that, in her defense, the approach that Wesley takes is like, okay, listen, you can have a normal life, or you can come with me, who you don't know.
Die.
And
probably die. You know what would have been good if they got the actress to play Lal from the show, 30 years ago already now?
Yeah, but
and had her come back as, why couldn't she be the evil scientist? Why did it have to be Spiner? I don't know.
You're right about that. You're right about that. That would have been interesting. Although, again, like Data kind of created Lal's look.
Yeah, but she like put something in him till he would make her in the future or something like that. So when we write better stories than what they give us and they get paid hundreds of thousands, I get really pissed about that. So.
Yeah, and again, as always, the emotion, too many emotional problems. Q, all you need is a hug. It's like, no, Jesus, man,
that was sad. That was sad for one reason. I thought that Delancey should have had a better exit scene if that's for his character, because after all these years, that's what you give him. That's it. That's his death scene. I'm like, okay,
and no explanation of like, again, are the entire Q dying? Is he just? Why is he dying?
Right.
How does he? I mean, other than the snap, how does he know he's dying? And again, I point to Voyager in that fantastic Q episode with the other Q saying, "No, I want to die." So we know it's possible,
right?
But give us a little more and just give us a better explanation. And also, he really felt. I mean, I'm really glad he was part of it. I love watching him act. He always delivers 100%. But I kind of wish there was more of him in this story, especially given what the finale was. And really, all we saw was him screwing with Renee Picard and being the fake doctor. But why? What is that motivation?
Well, exactly. What was that going to stop?
Isn't that counterproductive to what they were trying to do? And also, again, regarding emotions, I'm sorry. You're doing Rob Burnett, my buddy, this weekend in his assessment of both Strange New Worlds and the end of Picard. It's like, these people are in quasi-military and doing missions. It's not that they don't have feelings. It's that there's a job to do. And even Patrick Stewart's comments in that article, it's like, you've got a job to do. It is important to put your emotions, buried and do what you need to, because if you're in the line of fire and, excuse me, I want to talk about my feelings, bam, your head just got shot off. Because you're worried about your feelings rather than being aware of the situation. And that's what drove me nuts about the last couple episodes of Picard, too, when he's just strolling around the house. And while he's under this pressure system, I can't help but think back to my childhood and when I saw my mother hung. Yeah. Not in a good male way. My mother was well hung.
Like a horse. Anyway, so if Q stops Renee from going on the mission, and that alters the timeline, then there's no future Picard. What was the story? Why was he trying to do that? That makes no sense now. Why was Q trying to stop her from going into space?
I don't know. Again, much like the first season, a lot of this doesn't make sense. A lot.
Do you think they cut out a lot of stuff? Do you think they had like, we got time
or whatever,
money?
No, I think. Again, one night, years from now, I hope to be sitting at a convention after hours with Mark Bernard and okay, so what happened? It's 10 years later. What the fuck happened? And again, I really like Mark. I was really excited that he was part of the team. I'm so glad I talked to him when I still liked those first two episodes of the season. And then the craptacular that we got instead after the other 8 episodes. It's like, okay, because I really do. I don't want to lie, but by the same standpoint, I also don't want to invite somebody on Word Balloon or here and be like, hey, welcome. Okay, let me tell you why your work sucks.
Yeah. No.
And also, he was just a consultant. He even said, because I said, will any episodes have your name on it? He said, no, I was much more of a almost quasi consultant in the room. And that's all he said. So he didn't even like give any particulars. Like, no, I'm the guy who said, hey, let's put him back in Starfleet or whatever, even if I'm sure he wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know.
The way I thought this works, and maybe he would be a great one to tell you, the writer's room. I always think that they have these like little index cards like they used to show in the past.
Yes.
And they have like, this character's going to do this character's going to do that.
Yeah.
And they're all doing this, and they all converge, and they all come together at the end, and that's how it all works and stuff. And somewhere, someone forgot to take a Post-it note off the wall and go, oh, we forgot something here. Because the other story that makes no sense and they had no resolution is the Borg are just forgiven for billions of people they've assimilated and worlds they've destroyed and thousands of people they killed during that, Wolf 539 or whatever
359, yeah.
359. Because Agnes shows up at the end and says, we want to be friends with you now. So that's like, okay.
I don't know. Again,
everything's fine.
We'll see if next season has anything to do with the Borg. I'm betting it won't.
They're all Catholic on that show.
The board needed to get in touch with their feelings, and they needed to work it out. So now they're fine.
That's another. Yeah, when Agnes says that to the Borg Queen and says, "No, you're not looking for perfection.
You're just lonely.
You're just lonely." It's like,
what was
she's
that?
Not lonely.
She's got billions of voices in her head. I know.
And again, we've been indoctrinated ever since the Borg were introduced. That's what it is to be a Borg. God, when you're lonely, it's Hugh when he's detached from the Borg, and he's like, "Don't you get lonely?"
He's not part of the collective.
I didn't understand loneliness until I was detached from the collective. Again, it's
no, and it makes no sense.
Jesus, watch the goddamn episodes.
The
please.
Borg Queen. They did an episode in Enterprise where they went back in the past, and the Borg were up in Alaska. What was it? Up north in the snow. Remember, they were trying to send a signal. I don't even remember anymore. But the Borg, the Borg exist.
Yeah,
they exist already in that time. Couple hundred years, except they're in the which galaxy were they in? The Delta Quadrant?
The Delta Quadrant, yeah.
Yeah. So she could probably hear them somehow. I don't know why she's like, oh, you're detached from the collective. I don't know. It's like they never watched Star Trek. They just got
or all they've watched are the movies.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that they kind of cliff noted their way through Star Trek. And it's like, okay, Mitch Q is trying to help Picard come to terms with relationships and allow Picard to embrace them and allow others to share their life with him, i.e. bang that hot Romulan chick. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Laris had a nice
he knew that. Yeah, he knew that. He knew that was going to happen. Q knew without all his powers.
Hey, and I don't know if it means that the Q continuum were also watchers, and that Wesley and the Travelers were part of that. It seems the Travelers are part of the watchers that Laris and Gary Seven represent.
Yeah.
At least that was the suggestion that Wesley was making.
Yeah.
But also, what happened to Talon, not Laris, her power to put herself in other people and make them do stuff and everything? Remember at the beginning before Picard meets Talon, he's walking through the park and all of a sudden the little girl goes, "It's this way," or
they odd like that zombie look. Yeah, the mind control. Yeah.
Yes. That power went away.
Well, apparently everybody that goes through therapy comes out worse on the other end. That's my rationalization.
Yeah, I don't know.
They lose family members. They lose Borg continuums, Q continuums, and Borg and powers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm dying. Daniel, I'm going to hold some of your comments until we start talking about Strange New Worlds. Okay, two other Picard articles. What was it?
Did you feel any sense? I was going to say, did you feel any sentimentality at all?
No.
Picard? Because they were going for it. They were like, oh, heartstrings. Look, there's Wesley. Oh, look, he's talking about Q. He's hugging him. They were like, these are all these points that you were supposed to start weeping and go, oh, that's my Star Trek.
That's that's the shitty part of new Star
It
Trek.
made me
All about
angrier.
feelings.
It was like it's like the Star Wars movies. You're ruining my old memories of the show by making such.
I had more emotion, honestly, about the new episode of Strange New Worlds, the one episode, than I did about the entire 2 seasons of Picard. Honestly,
yes. Well, because again, although they had a little bit of it, and again, we'll get more into it in a second, but La'an Noonien Soon, or La'an, the security officer that's temporarily number 1,
right?
Of course, she had to give her trauma story, and I know Uhura's going to have a trauma story, and that's just, hi, how you doing? Boy, it's like an AA meeting or any sort of 10-step program where really they're like in a semicircle, and it's like, yeah, this is what happened to me, and it's like, again, you're in this quasi-military thing.
Yeah.
You've got a job to do. And in Strange New Worlds, despite that moment with La'an, and it was before anything happened, once they beamed down to the planet, it was all business. Hey, we got something we got to do.
Right.
And that was great. You know what else was great about, and again, I want to get into Strange New Worlds more, but I didn't even notice until I saw it on another Trek Watch show. Outside of Spock and Pike, everyone else on the bridge were women. And that's fine, because they were all competent Starfleet officers capable of doing their damn jobs.
Yeah.
Good thing Michael Burnham paved the way.
I was going to say.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, give me a break. Yeah, and by the way, that was another, like, Spock in the turbo lift. I miss my sister. She was so important to me. Yeah, it's really important to you, Spock. I know. Yeah.
What about your brother?
Yeah.
No mention of them.
Exactly. Again, when will you make Cybok matter? Maybe in Strange New Worlds we'll encounter Cybok.
And was that the Admiral? That was the one you told me they changed race on it, and they were like,
Robert April. Yeah,
that was him.
April.
Okay, I'm watching it going, oh, is that supposed to be him? Like, it didn't make a difference. But he asked about Discovery, and they let him in on it.
Well, I didn't mind them referencing Discovery as far as the general story, because obviously the plot point of, hey, this spatial anomaly, that battle was seen by the planet, and therefore they reverse engineered matter, antimatter technology. So I didn't mind that. But like I said, what I do mind is, oh yeah, Michael, I miss my sister. It's like, yeah, shut up. It's bullshit.
I'll never talk about her again for 50 years, but
whatever. It's fine. And that's fine. Again, call it a Discovery universe. All these problems go away.
I know you're going to get to Picard again, but
go ahead.
We were complaining about the 4 seasons of Discovery and how we don't know anybody's name. I like how they name checked the transporter guy like 7 times in one episode. So I'm like, okay, I don't know his name because I'm horrible with names, but I'm like, oh, they named him 7 times, and
Mr.
I know
Kylie.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah. No, not Kylie. Kyle.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's the old blonde British officer from the original series, much like Chapel and Uhura being Enterprise old hands in this continuity prior to Kirk being there, which is fine. But and again, I have no problem with Robert April or Kyle being changed into different races. I have a little bit more of a problem with Kyle just because he's on so many episodes of the original series, and it's this transporter chief that could be anybody. And by all means, cast an Asian in that role. That's fine. I don't want to misconstrue that. It's got to be all white guys, a lot of white guys. But yeah, it's like, all right, whatever. I mean, like I said, there's like and actually, poor the actor that played Mr. Kyle just died in the last couple of years.
Oh,
so whatever. But Wayne says you would think Starfleet would weed out people with trauma because they would become a liability in the field under duress. Yes, Wayne, 100%. Which again. Is my frustration with all the feels, and everyone's got to talk about their feelings. It's like, you got a job to do, man. I'm sorry. No time for BS. No time for
the past was all changed when you had Borgatti here in the present, and then we went back to the other.
Shut up.
I actually thought that there's a chance that Q is not dead. When they show the ship go to warp at the very end, there was a little flash of light up in the corner, and I was like, oh, maybe that's Q.
I think that's them going to warp, but whatever.
Oh, no, they went to warp.
Maybe Q did explode like I don't know.
Did.
Maybe he just had gas. Maybe it was gas.
It's a Q
what about Seven of Nine's story arc? Did she have one? They just kissed and
Well,
made up.
yeah, Raffi still, whatever.
They made her a Borg again. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Dowd says about feelings. I wanted to feel sentimental about Picard and Q or whatever. Felt like a waste. Like how I felt watching the Death of the Incredible Hulk TV movie after how much I loved the Bixby Hulk as a kid. Actually, I gotta say, I did feel sad, and that did hit me because I loved the way Bixby played it. And she's, the woman's like, "Oh, David, I'm so sorry." He's like, "No, I'm free.
I'm free."
And then they played the Lonely Man music, and it's
That's
like,
right.
"Oh man, I was at my man's house. It's like, why are you crying? I'm not crying. You're crying."
Yasmin,
TV movie, leave me alone.
I'm free. That's how it ended. Yasmin, I'm free.
Dowd says what happened to Seven. She came out of the closet with Ravi. No, I don't think she. I don't
No,
think
they said that already that they were together, and I'm like, oh.
I do want to hear that audio at some point of Raffi and Seven, the audio adventure they made, because I'm hoping that'll fill in more detail. But yeah, it was just ham-fisted, whatever, and that's fine. Again, I got no problem with the relationship. That's fine. They kiss, great.
Oh,
wonderful.
You forgot Eleanor was alive again.
Yeah, Eleanor. Gee, I think you're swelling. Boy, either that guy cannot act, but they were stuck with him for 2 seasons, or they really did him a disservice.
Yeah,
giving him barely nothing to do.
Jesus. They threw him on a ship. I don't know who.
Well, I didn't mind that, and it's whatever. Again, it's like because whatever, it's a surprise, and that was Q. I mean, again, much like the first season of Picard, a lot of the solutions had to do with magic, or because they had that stupid gadget that could fix anything if you think about it, and it's like, what is that? How does that work? And the same thing with just Snap, and I assumed that Q would be the one that would be able to put them back in the timeline and everything.
But please, just for everybody's sake, just refer to him as
Agnes went back in the past. And
no, I wasn't going to go there, honestly. But let's refer to him as Space Legolas, please. This way I know who we're talking about. Yeah.
But I like that he's Elnor, and it really, just like I call her Agnes, it's like Eleanor. Gee, I think you're Swellenor. So yeah, Picard, what are we going to do? 3rd season coming. We didn't want Patrick Stewart, I guess that same maybe interview in the Hollywood Reporter. Didn't want the Next Generation on Picard at first. This is in Variety. He was adamantly against the reunion with Picard, saying he had his doubts. He had cited the idea of not wanting to rewind the clock, and further going on to say there's no reason to walk down memory lane. It was something which initially I had my doubts about. It would seem to me that it would be paying too much attention to the fan appreciations of what Next Generation had meant to them. I know how intense the social reconnections can be, but when we talked about it, when I talked to Akiva about it and my fellow producers and the other writers, I could see that it could be done without rewinding the clock. There was no reason for us to walk down memory lane in every scene, not at all. And the brilliant thing was that the writers
they also saw no reason to have story in down memory lane either.
Yep. The brilliant thing the writers did in season 3 is they engaged the cast of the Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
And then they gave me some gold latinum, and I was all set.
Exactly. That's as much as I'm allowed to say. This isn't to say he's isn't fond of the cast. Going on to say within an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, we've bonded together for years and years in different ways and different reasons. I adore them. I love them all deeply. What they brought into my life in 1987 was rich and complex. They are all as committed as any group of actors I've ever worked with. And yes, we had a lot of fun. We joked. Nevertheless, we were a serious group of actors. I was proud of the work we did. Yeah. So yeah, I guess read the articles in Variety and Hollywood Reporter to get a little more backstory. Dowd, I agree with you, Dowd. I just wish they'd end Picard at this and let Patrick Stewart go on.
Yeah.
What bothers me is it was 2 seasons of wasted time. Because they should have written better stories. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. And again, like Dowd says, not to walk down memory lane in every scene when they spent an entire season going down the characters' memories in the entire season.
Literally, they went to his past.
Yeah, it's a different side.
In their defense, it was a totally different memory because his family wasn't there and they retconned it all. So yeah.
And yeah, again, we've been watching these reruns for 35 years.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I really think you blew it not having Robert and some, even just one scene of Jean-Luc. You know how weird Mother gets, or listen to Father. You don't understand. You're too young. Something. something, nothing, or at least a reference to him. Maybe he's off in farm school. He's in the 4-H club learning how to plow the vineyards or whatever. I don't know. All right, let's move on to Strange New Worlds, a much better subject where, good Lord,
Dang.
wow.
Yay. I like
Actually
that.
had a
Joe.
Star Trek thing going on. Who the hell knew?
Right?
Yeah. Someone can write Star Trek stuff, mostly.
I know. I was like, wow, where was this for 5 years?
Spock,
Right.
I need you to come back to the Enterprise. I know I look like hell. I'm going to brush my hair and shave before I go up. And that's fine. He was on vacation. Obviously, he's a little burnt out. I like him getting down with the other captain in his little Montana hideaway.
He's a little
Yeah, he had
depressed.
the beard going. He was Mountain Man. He was like dealing with his trauma. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Found out how he's going to die. He was pretty bummed out. That would piss you off, you know.
But Mitch, and you're right, because that is the that's what they say in the show. It's like, no, he didn't die. Yeah, he's and at least they followed up with the line, or at least my life the way it is now.
Yes, yeah,
right.
But that's the thing.
But also,
man, guess what? Yeah, it sucks that you're in the chair and everything that happens to you in the menagerie. And again, the problem is they make the cage canon, and it's like you really should lean more on the menagerie, the way they kind of reworked the cage into Star Trek continuity, because that story was rejected.
Right.
That's why they made the second pilot.
Yeah.
NBC's like, no, we don't like it. It's too cerebral. And obviously, adjustments were made, even more so, fitting the cage into the 2-part menagerie. And it's like, so, because I haven't watched it yet, but I do want to rewatch Menagerie, because I think the accident that happens to Pike that puts him in the chair, it's during Kirk's run. And I think it's only maybe months before they are at that starbase with Commodore Mendez.
Right.
And they see him in the chair.
Yeah.
You know,
he explained to him that there was a training thing going on and that he ran in there and there's gamma radiation got leaked out and he saved everybody, but he was trapped there. So, yeah, it just happened. I mean, it was like, oh. Yeah. You're saying it makes it sound like it was yours?
I'm never a big fan of going back and I don't know, doing these shows that take place in the past. But the way you explain it, but we know what happens to Picard. We've seen Pike. We've seen it happen. Everybody on this crew and Pike doesn't necessarily know that that's going to happen. So, if this were brand new and we didn't know anything about Pike or anything, and this is the way they start the story, there would be an element of, I don't know if that's actually going to happen to him or not. You get that, and you're built into the story. So I could see where that works for new viewers, but for us, we'll see where it goes. But I'm willing to go with it, even though I know what happens to him.
Well, based on what we saw in the pilot, and certainly there are more episodes to come, and I'll judge this as they give it to us. I really liked it, and maybe in whatever the final season ends up being, if it's a 5th season, I mean, they said 5-year mission, but whatever it ends up being, if you want, or whenever they want to transition, even in just one episode, passing the baton to Kirk or whatever, that's fine. I mean, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And also, I like what Spock said to him, and also like, all right, well, the question is, will it make you more reckless, knowing that this probably won't affect you dying? It's a question of how much information and what context he got it in. It seemed like, based on what we saw in Discovery, that it really was just a flash of, oh my God, I'm going to wind up like this at some point in my life. And I don't know when it's going to happen.
But I kind of like that, when he disregarded the Prime Directive or whatever they call it. Before the Prime Directive.
The temporal Prime Directive, if you will.
Right. Yeah. So, that he just threw that to the wind. Why? Because he knows what's going to happen. He doesn't care about that anymore. Or those are the questions that are brought up that I don't mind and I like story-wise. He's like, no, we're going to do this now. We're going to tell him what's going on. I don't care. I kind of like that ballsiness. Yeah.
I guess.
They could have a great story eventually down there that he finds out there's a chance that he could rewrite history. Right. And then he goes looking for some lost whatever it is. But, there's a lot of potential. Sure. It's not like, like he's a condemned man. Like, oh, that's it. I'm going to be crazy every week because I know I have 10 years no matter what.
Or they could have him change history. He could see it's almost like It's a Wonderful Life, where I wish I was never born. Okay, this is what it looks like with you not being born and all the changes, but you can go back and live the life you were supposed to live. So that's another possibility too, is they could show Pike 10 years from now, never experiencing that accident and how all the bad things that happened, and him saying, oh shit, maybe I should, face the fate that I should have had.
And as much as I like what they're doing to it, I kind of go, oh, they kind of ripped that off a little bit from Babylon 5, because they told Bruce Boxleitner, you were dead. We're going to give you a second chance at life, but you only have 25 years or whatever it was. And no more, no less. So do as much as you can. And then the last day of his life, he goes and
it was excellent.
Spoiler.
I love that show. No, honestly,
I know. But that's all I kept thinking about.
And only got better as it went along.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all the goofy shit makes sense. Same with Deep Space Nine, by the way. They really lay out a lot in that first season, and I was very unsure if I was going to like it or not. Now go back and watch it, and I would argue that of the sequel series, first season of Deep Space Nine is the best one, because you can watch those episodes, and the moments with the characters are very consistent on who they were at that moment and inform them, and even the Bajoran religious political politics and everything. And Odo's weirdness of we don't know where he's from, and do we trust Odo or not? He worked with the Cardassians. I mean, it really does work rewatching season 1 of Deep Space Nine, I think.
Yeah.
But back to no kidding.
Here's a question for you. By having so many of the old Trek people on the new Pike show, does it kind of take away from character development? Because you know what's going to happen to Uhura, you know what's going to happen to Chapel, you know what happens to Spock. So half the crew, you already know what happens to everybody.
I'm of two minds of this, because I've explained a lot. I hate when they bring a character like Uhura and bring her in, because we already know what happened to her. But I think I was talking to you about it this weekend, Johnny. They brought her in, and I saw an interview with her, and it kind of made sense. She said that when you see Uhura on the original series, she's a seasoned veteran, so she knows what she's doing. Me, I'm like fresh out of the academy. I'm gonna fuck up everywhere. I'm gonna mess up everywhere, and I'm like, okay, you know what? That kind of makes sense character wise, and let's see where they go with it. And there could be mistakes in her past where or she learned things from the to apply to the future and stuff like that. At some point they could show the fan dance, where so how she learned the fan dance.
Boys.
One day I'll need to know this.
Yeah.
Sure. Michelle Nichols, Lucille Ball moment. Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm going to get sexy now. All right. I guess. Okay. And again, they're in the desert. They hadn't seen a woman in a while other than the hot Romulan ambassador.
Was Spock's wife the one that double crosses him when the Amok? That was supposed to be her.
It's T'Pring. Absolutely. Yeah. And also, all right, let's talk about that. I got no problem showing an intimate scene with T'Pring and Spock. Fine. They were way too casual with Vulcans, as in my opinion. Yeah. I did like that the waiter kind of told him, "Hey, you're doing too many public displays of affection. Beat it." I thought that was really funny. But also, I didn't like T'Pring being so casual with Pike.
Yes.
When Pike calls her, she calls him Chris.
Yeah.
And, I'm okay with Pike knowing about their relationship. But it's just, Chris, whatever.
No, and he's like, "Oh, are you naked? We were about to." I'm like, "Really? That's not how a Vulcan acts."
Yeah.
Paint me a picture, Spock. Thanks. Yeah.
I like the more, I always refer to as country club demeanor of original series and movie Sarek compared to Discovery Sarek, where it's like, no, that's how they talk. In fact, I'll even confess, I rewatched the Lower Decks episode where you see all the other ships in their lower decks, and it's the Vulcan exchanges that I love the most, because the captain and the other officers are crapping on that officer that ends up saving the day, and they're doing it in such Vulcan. It seems polite, but absolutely there's an insult buried in there, and it's like, no, that's how at least that's how I'm used to Vulcans talking, rather than "Hi, Christopher," in the callback the JJ movie of 2009 with Nero and the Romulans calling Pike Hi, Christopher. How you doing? I'm Nero. I'm about to screw up your life.
Hey, did the Sam Kirk thing piss you off?
I'll wait and see. The same thing. It's just like Chapel, Uhura, and
Mhm.
La'an, Noonien Singh. I will give them the opportunity to explain why it's necessary for Sam Kirk to be there. The fact that we only see him once, and it's when he's dead in Operation Annihilate, the flying pancake alien episode.
Right.
People remember. I always said that instead of flying pancakes, to me it looked like rubber vomit aliens.
Yeah, like fake doggy vomit.
Yeah, exactly. But that, I mean, it's okay, and it was like when like, oh, Lieutenant Kirk, something. Oh man,
Yep.
really?
I like the bait and switch. At least they're trying.
Yes,
they're trying. Yeah.
yes. So, but again, man, I love Nurse Chapel.
I didn't think I would, and I did.
And I like her spunkiness. I like all that. My only small nitpick would be, I don't know how this version of Chapel is then in the original series pining for Mr. Spock.
Right.
And also, so does she never see or be aware of T'Pring, despite the fact that we're introducing?
Maybe she doesn't care.
No, I mean, again, she knew something was upsetting Spock, and that's why she made the plomeek soup in the original series, and he throws the bowl and everything. Yep. Leave me alone. And it's like, whatever. Again, it's a little inconsistent. Tiny nitpick. And another tiny nitpick that I didn't notice, but I loved it, that Rob noticed. He's like, why were the helmsman and the navigator wearing red shirts and not gold shirts?
Right.
And I laughed when I heard him say that. And I'm like, come on. But I get it because, those are command level positions, and red is for support. Although in Arena, the Gorn episode that I rewatched, there is a moment where, it was Court Martial with Ben Finney, my friend Ben Finney, who died. Yes, but you jettisoned his pod when it was still yellow alert. Uhura is at the navigational,
the yellow off,
chair, and she's a red shirt. So I don't have a problem, and also we have command level people like Uhura and Spock that are not in gold shirts. So I thought that was a nitpick, and I'm like, I got no problem with that. It's fine. It's fine. So,
sorry.
What else? Yeah, again, I like La'an Noonien Singh right now. I don't know why she needs to be a condescending. But back to what I was saying about the Gorn. Yeah, I mean, again, they were this mystery alien race to the original series, and they're all talking about the Gorn.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that doesn't connect, but whatever. Minor little thing. What are you going to do?
Do you know what the rationale was why they gave the same exact intro that Kirk did? Like, they didn't even change a word of it.
I don't mind that. I don't mind. I mean, good Lord, Patrick Stewart said, and again, that was another thing. Rob's like, come on. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Although they overdid it when he was giving the speech at the end of the episode. It's like, we know. It's fine. You
just told us that.
Inspirational.
That doesn't bother me because I write that off as, they're looking for the newer viewer. So that stuff doesn't bother me as much.
We're gonna see it every week.
Yeah.
Lenny says they're laying the roots to T'Pring viewing the Federation as leading to the end of her relationship with Spock. Sure.
Okay.
Here Daniel says recently I watched an episode of Voyager where Janeway was talking about the Kirk era. I assume he's saying being more like the Wild West, so it makes sense for Pike to play more fast and loose with the roles. 100%. Yeah, I didn't mind. Someone had asked and said the fact that here Wayne says it made sense for Pike to break General Rule 1 because Starfleet was responsible for corrupting the planet when Discovery was sent to the future. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and again, thank God we have at least one male that is not subservient to the women that are still strong women, despite also having a strong man next to him. That's why I liked Lorca. That's why I liked Pike in season 2 of Discovery. It's like, please don't be ashamed of a male character that has some gravitas to him and a level of respect and capability. And it really was pissing me off where it's like, can you at least have one guy? Well, now we got one guy, and obviously Spock as well. But that just bothered me. I didn't like that they had to, even with the explanation that Chapel had to inject them was something to make them look alien.
Oh yeah.
Because we've had decades of cosmetic surgery doing it. I think you still could have injected whatever genome you needed in Spock's DNA and the rest of them to make them appear to be that alien race. I also like how the alien in the elevator that was sizing up Pike kind of looked like Angelina Jolie with a big nose, really big nose. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like, okay, fine. It gives you a chance to kind of show the ears get pointy at one moment. Whatever. Good Lord. But yeah, exactly. Michael's like, yeah, one guy. Yay. Exactly. It's like, fine. Thank God we have one. That's fine. And he's great. He's great, but they're great. The women are great too. I mean, I look forward to seeing more of Rebecca Romaine as number one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what little they gave her to do. She was great.
I was really surprised by, I was going to say all the female characters, but everybody in the show. I really kind of was attuned to them and liked them more than I thought I was going to. Maybe these years of Discovery and Picard kind of had me going in here. Let's see what the hell they got going on now. But I kind of it made sense. They were all strong characters, and they all had their little piece of story being fed into this, which I'm okay with. Let's go forward and see what happens. Yeah,
and they're all capable. I mean, that's the thing is they were all really good at their job. The new navigator was great. Everybody was great. Even Lieutenant Kyle had his little moment. Yep. I've learned things about subsequent episodes that I won't go into. People might have already read the same articles that I did that do have me rolling my eyes, where it's going to be like, okay, and identity politics and all this other BS is going to be in there. I didn't mind, and it did. Mitch, you and I were talking about it today. They used some of the January 9th video.
January 6th.
No, it was the 9th. I think it was the 9th. But anyway,
it was the 6th. I think I remember when they tried to take over.
Right. You're probably right. I'm not going to that's like a Franco argument with me ready to happen. And it's like, no, you're right. You're probably right. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind them using that to lead up to World War III. I do understand, because Mitch and I were talking about it. Mitch is like, well, there's nobody that agrees with, the insurrection that might be a Star Trek fan. And I'm like, no, I really think that's short-sighted in terms of, I do think there are both reasonable and unreasonable people on the other side of the political spectrum that still like Star Trek and might be like, hey, quit rubbing it in our faces. That was my problem with Stacey Abrams being cast as the president of the Federation. As I've said before, I love Stacey Abrams. I think she's great as a real person, but I do think you're kind of thumbing your nose at potentially half of your audience that are conservatives and are Star Trek fans who don't like Stacey Abrams and are just coming to escape, the real world. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, here you go. It's like,
I couldn't imagine how the last couple of years of Star Trek have been so PC that you're going to get a starch conservative that would still enjoy this show. I can't imagine that.
Well, again, and we'll see where. Well, I think, I don't know.
I mean, they would have pissed off a lot of people by now. But then again, you can't really be a starch conservative. Star Trek throughout its history, even in the '60s, was always open-minded and liberal.
Nobody is purely one or the other. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a social liberal, but a fiscal conservative, and I do think that there are enough reasonable people that identify as Republicans who may not hold office, but just might be, hey, I got no problem with gay people. I have no problem with people of color. I have no problem with equality, but I don't like overreaching. And they might think it's overreaching. But and again, this is supposed to be an escape. And again, the other problem with New Trek is the fact that here everyone's saying that it was January 6th. Thank you, boys. I appreciate it. Yes, way to go, Mitch. Well done. But no, honestly, and Dowd keeps asking if the president of the alien planet was the same actress to play the president of the Federation. I don't believe so. I could be wrong. Again, feel free, guys, to look it up and look up cast list and see. But I don't believe so. Regardless, my point is, New Trek is just, rather than being inclusive, and not only on the show, but if you go to the Star Trek website, it really is all identity politics. And isn't it great that we're celebrating all these people? It's like Star Trek always did that.
Yeah.
those Best of Trek paperbacks and magazines that used to come out that had these thoughtful essays about, well, what does, the Kirk or the Spock McCoy relationship means this. So, and they'd have an essay about it, or even Spock's parentage of what must have happened for Sarek, a Vulcan, a very traditional Vulcan, to fall in love with Amanda. That's interesting. What's not interesting is just, yay, we got all of the races covered and we got all the sexuality covered. And it's like, absolutely, that's great, but that's step one. What else do they do? Tell us more about these characters beyond their sexual or racial identities. And right now, it's just, we're here, and it's like, excellent. So what do you got to contribute? I don't know. They haven't really given us anything to do. Yeah, that's right. And again, they are short shrifting these people of color and other sexualities just to say, well, they're there. And it's like, yeah, sure they are. I certainly hope 400 years from now, or whatever it is, that human beings are much more comfortable with the idea of the gay lifestyle, the non-binary lifestyle, the trans lifestyle. It's almost like impressing the white-black marriage and having that on screen and still thinking like it's the 1800s or the 1700s or even the early 1900s. And it's like, no, we're past that. It's okay. It's okay. And you would hope that in 400 years, hey, they're it's a non-binary person and a trans person. Okay. That's great. And it's great that they're there and it's great that they're represented. What else do they do? Not much, apparently. So at least not yet. And again, this will be the third season of Discovery where you're going to have Adira. And I'm assuming, unless she's not back, or pardon me, they're not back, Adira's partner. Right. I don't know. Yeah, Blue, whatever. Or yeah, is the character's name Gray?
Yeah. Okay,
because I know the actor's name is Blue. Or maybe that's Adira that's named Blue. I apologize, everybody. I don't know. Doubt. Good question. Do you think that there was more? So an Alex Kurtzman call or a Paramount call to kind of make the Trek shows more inclusive to everyone? Maybe, or they're thumbing their nose at what was half of their audience. And they see the numbers. And again, I think Strange New World is a step in the right direction of, we don't like the Trek you're giving us. We want it the way that it was. Give the any, and it's even happening to a degree in Discovery in season 4. Give these other crew members something valuable to do. Must Michael Burnham be the solution to everything? And the fact that they've got Pike as the captain certainly does play well. We don't want the white guy to solve everything. God forbid. Let's have more roles for the other people on the ship. No, that's great. And I love M'Benga. I thought he was terrific. Again, I mean, really, I thought it was a solid, if I gave a letter grade, I'd give it a solid B. And compared to other
A minus. I really liked it.
It's the best single episode of New Trek they've made.
In a while. Long time, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think even going back to, literally, I think nothing that JJ did in the movies or new Star Trek TV has matched what they did in Strange New Worlds.
I like that first JJ movie a lot. I really did.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, we got 9 more episodes of Strange New Worlds. Yay. So that'll be cool.
I'm excited about new Trek episodes.
Yeah. I was telling Mitch earlier, Franco, this morning I was watching a West Wing rerun just to have as wallpaper as I was prepping a couple new podcast episodes for Word Balloon. And there's an episode from the 4th season where one of the little minor storylines is that there's somebody that works in the White House that comes to work with a Star Trek pin. And Josh Lyman, the assistant chief of staff, Bradley Whitford's character, is like, hey, Donna, tell that woman she can't wear her Star Trek pin to work. It's not unprofessional. And the woman is really offended. And it's awesome. And even it's like, Star Trek represents civic-minded people doing good things to help the greater good. You don't get Star Trek and everything. And I actually printed out the dialogue. And it is so great because it's at the same time classic Aaron Sorkin, and I love what he has to say about Star Trek fandom. So this woman is named Janice, and Josh is the man that she's talking to. And she goes, I'm not obsessed, you know. And he goes, I'm sorry. I'm not obsessed. I'm just a fan and I care. What's your name again? Janice. Hey, I'm a fan too. I'm a sports fan. I'm a music fan. And I'm a Star Trek fan. All of them. But here's what I don't do. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Let's list our favorite 10 episodes. Let's list our least favorite episodes. Let's list our favorite galaxies. Let's make a chart to see how often our favorite galaxies appear in our favorite episodes. What Romulan would you like to see coupled with a Cardassian and why? Let's spend a weekend talking about Romulans falling in love with Cardassians. And then let's do it again. That's not being a fan. That's having a fetish. And I don't have a problem with that, except you can't bring your hobbies to work, okay? And Janice goes, got it. And then he says, except on Star Trek holidays. And again, this is 20 years ago. She's like, there's no such thing as a Star Trek holiday. And he goes, well, work hard around here. We'll make one. And he walks off and she smiles. And of course, in the real world, we now have First Contact Day and in April, and we have Star Trek Day in September.
But they're not nationally recognized holidays.
It's not like May the 4th be with you. It's not Star Wars Day.
Well, they're trying. They're trying. It's newer than May the 4th be with you, but they're trying. And I guarantee you, Paramount Plus will celebrate those days. Right. I mean, they did it with the announcement of season 3 of Picard, that everyone's back. And again, Star Trek Day is kind of like their mini con of, hey, we're gonna give you news about all the shows and everything. So I got no problem with that. But yeah, I just love that. It's such an Aaron Sorkin exchange. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh no, Star Trek is my fetish. I'm like, can you repeat that, but in a lower voice and a little more breathy and just be slower? So I can pull down my pants while you're telling me this stuff.
Oh, boy.
Easy now. It's time to go.
Romulans and Cardassians intermingling. So, yeah, who would we want to see? It's a fake. That's a moment between a Romulan and a Cardassian in bed. And then Romulan walks up. It's a fake.
Okay.
All right, no comments.
Thanks for coming.
I can't wait to share it. And nothing. All right, I tried. I don't know if the Peanut Gallery liked it, but that just killed me. He's like, he's not wrong. And obviously that echoes of the Whitewater juror that would show up.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, funny. Doc goes, I'd give my left arm, I'll say left nut, to have Sorkin writing any of the new Star Trek instead of what we got currently. Yeah, man. No, I agree. It'll be a lot more clever.
Yeah.
But I did love that. I thought that was funny. Hey, Aaron Sorkin said I got a fetish. Well, so do you, meanie. Anything else? I mean, again, we'll see. We'll see in 3 days when they give us the next episode.
I liked it. I got nothing else to complain about.
Or even good stuff.
Moon Knight sucked, but that's another story.
Yeah, I gotta catch up on that.
Yeah.
Gotta watch.
No spoilers there.
Gotta watch the Moon Knight. Gotta watch Doctor Strange.
It didn't suck as bad as Picard, so there you go.
All right. Yeah, even Chucky, I was hanging with him yesterday, and he was like, we were watching Marvel movies on FX, and they were showing trailers and behind the scenes stuff of the Doctor Strange movie. It's like, see, in the trailer this happened. I'm like, you jerk. I'm like, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. Doubt wants to know if we've watched The Man Who Fell to Earth yet. I have not. Is that that's also a Kurtzman show, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have not watched it yet.
No.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think unfortunately both Kurtzman and Goldman have kind of distinguished themselves with bad reboots. I don't know. So JD liked Moon Knight.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. It's cool.
I was okay with it, but yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, and the interesting thing is Terry Matalas, the showrunner of Picard, will have much more control over season 4 than he did on season 3. Because Goldman still was a big influence on season 2 of Picard. But yeah, Goldman has now moved on to Strange New Worlds. And as much as I like this first episode, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's funny. Doubt says there was literally an episode, or there was a Disney video where Benedict Wong is literally dressed up like comic book artist Buzz. Wayne wants to know, anybody going to MegaCon? I am not. How about you boys?
No.
I did learn that as much as I was bummed to miss Mission Chicago, the Star Trek convention, a good number of Star Trek celebrities will be at Fan Expo Chicago in July after the 4th. So I look forward to hopefully running into some of my favorite Star Trek people. And they're all classic. They're all classic castmates.
Yeah, I'm going to be at Awesome Con in about a month or less than a month now. And there's, I think the Doctor and Stamets are going to be at Awesome Con. Not that I'll get to see them or meet them, but they're there.
Dowd is going to be at MegaCon. He's going to be working a booth. B Thing says, and I do know this year correctly, even though he says I got into Star Trek when I was 12 back in 2008. Oh, no, actually, I take that back. He's just saying Star Trek in general. So maybe he watched the old stuff before the JJ movie in 2009. Last Thursday was the first time I ever saw a new piece of Star Trek that made me feel like I was watching new Star Trek that was Star Trek. I agree, buddy.
Yep.
Oh, man, poor Dowd is going to be in New York before the Perez Memorial at MegaCon. Yeah, really sad this weekend that we lost George Perez. Look for a word balloon either as part of Bill Cox's online convention, May 21st and 22nd, or a standalone word balloon with Gordon Purcell, who is one of the best Star Wars comic book artists over the years. And well, he did both. He's done both. Yeah. And
didn't George Perez do the cover of the first issue of Star Trek for DC way back when?
He might have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he might have.
I thought it was Dave Cockrum.
I mean, a lot of their A-list people, both artists and writers, did do arcs. I know Adam Hughes did with Chris Claremont did a fantastic graphic novel that takes place both during the original series years, but the wraparound narrative is literally right after Star Trek 4, and it's Jillian the oceanographer and Kirk hanging out on a yacht and talking about old times and stuff, and she's getting to know Kirk and stuff like that. And then someone else shows up, and it makes him think of an original series era mission. And it was very good, and it was beautifully drawn. And Claremont is clearly a Star Trek fan, so I like that. I like that John Byrne is an exceptional comic book writer that is a Star Trek fan. And I love those photo comics the fumetti that he made, taking old images of original series stories and making new stories out of them. He had a great sequel to the pilot where Gary Mitchell survives after the rock drops on him and buries him in that grave and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. And it was funny. I was watching another show and they had a reference to a ship that was the Mitchell.
Yeah, that was Discovery.
Yeah, well, that's what they claimed. But I'm like, well, why couldn't it have been Gary Mitchell? I don't know. I
thought it was, but
maybe that was prior. Actually, I guess that was prior to Gary Mitchell. So, what about Dead of Honor, Wayne? Oh, that's the name of the graphic novel that Claremont and Hughes did.
Yeah, they reissued that about a year or two ago, actually.
Yeah. No, those are great, and I'm truly, as Down just said, I wish IDW had John Byrne do more Trek stuff. I think the guy that was the Byrne connection is no longer at IDW, unfortunately.
Chris Ryall.
Yeah.
No, he's not there anymore.
And so I don't know. Again, I can't get into John Byrne's head, and nor would I want to.
Do they even still have? Do they have the license for Trek?
Oh yeah. Oh no,
yeah.
they're still making.
No, they still do. Yeah, they do those books.
You know,
Mirror,
maybe they already released it. I don't know. Everybody that's watching, if they have stuck with the IDW comics, but they had announced that they were going to do a bunch of Discovery one-shots that were going to feature other side characters, including Book's cat. And I rolled my eyes at that. It's like, are you trying too hard? There's a waste of $4. I don't want to read a comic book about Book's cat. I'm sorry. But it's funny. After it was announced, I wonder if they went through with it or not. I don't know. And if they have, I'll check on Amazon later. But I'm like, okay, whatever.
You would know this, John. Did they ever release all the Deep Space Nines and Voyagers in high def? Did they redo them like they did Trek?
No.
Remember when they redid all the effects and they cleaned it all up for next gen?
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And everyone is hoping that eventually they will with both series. Whatchamacall, Enterprise was shot in HD.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you, I think I might have mentioned this before. I bought myself to give myself a birthday present at the end of the year, the Oculus VR stuff.
Yeah.
And not beyond the games and the other things you can do, you can watch Amazon Prime in a virtual theater on a big screen that looks like a movie big screen. It's insane.
Wow.
Crazy.
I've watched episodes of Enterprise that way, and it is very, very impressive.
Really?
So Dowd says, yes, IDW did do those books. And he's asking if we read the Discovery comics. I am not.
I don't know.
I don't like the cast enough. But he says, yes, they did, and he's buying it. And he said Book's cat issue was the first episode. Okay. I'm bummed. I really Sarah Jarvis, I think was her name, was the IDW editor that I first connected with years ago. And she clearly got it. I mean, having a great conversation with her, it's like, no, she's a serious Star Trek fan. And Mike Johnson, who's written a lot of the Star Trek comics, both from the Kelvin universe and original series and other things, he came from JJ's office, and he clearly knows how to write good Star Trek comic books. And the brothers, Tipton, the Tipton brothers, Scott Tipton, and I forget Elvis Tipton. I'm going to say it's not Elvis. They are good writers of Star Trek. So, and our good buddy J.K. Woodward is a great Star Trek artist. So, Wayne says, John, I love grunge. He's the best actor on Discovery. I have no idea who grunge is. I don't know. But okay, Wayne. Okay, Wayne. Anything else? Suppose we can wrap up if you want.
No, I got
no. I'm hopefully optimistic for 3 days from now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Again, and I'm also curious if they are going to release all 10 episodes or if they're going to split the season the way they did with Prodigy and just give us 5, rotate to something else because they know they got a good thing and they want to make people wait. I don't know. It'll be interesting. If somebody in the peanut gallery already knows, I don't know. Very good. JD says, I'm going to screw up his name. Ricardo Villagrán from Argentina inked Tom Sutton's pencils in DC Star Trek. That's awesome. Michael Jan Friedman wrote a great Star Trek plot. Obviously, Peter David wrote many great Star Trek plots in books and comics. Honestly, I think, and even Marvel, when Marvel had the license, did you guys ever read when Marvel had the license, they had a Pike book. And it actually ended in mid-story because either it was too close and Paramount didn't renew the license with Marvel, but they canceled the book like in mid-story. It was only like 17 issues. But it was a Pike Enterprise era book with Spock and number 1 and everybody. So
interesting.
There you go.
All right, I promise to shave my Pike beard because just like Pike, I'll get back into line and active duty. He said duty. And I hope we see more of Robert April. I'm a big fan. And we'll see. We'll see what's in store for us in the next episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. SNW. I call it the Pike Show. But thanks a lot for watching. Those were great, and I appreciate it. Everybody with chiming in with great comments and sticking around and hearing us blather for this hour plus. Live long and prosper, and hope to bring is waiting for you in your hot bed, and you can have hot Spock sex. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Later.